Hi there, and welcome to this review of the December 2023 exam, where I have gathered lots of feedback from students all over the world, and thank you very much for sending in your exam experience and helping me understand what came up on the exam. I'm very grateful for that, and I'm pleased that those of you who've taken on board my advice are very pleased with your performance. One thing I've always gone on about is the importance of doing a mock. And just before I review the questions that came up in the exam, I want to talk about the mocks that we've done. And the last mock we did was my mock day mock, where I used the pre-seen material. I took on board the information and I wrote a 3.25 hour exam. And in that exam, I did a question of evaluation of extending into cloud services and also some outsourcing of IT. I did a question on corporate governance and change, and I did a question on talent management. And the question you may ask was it worth doing that mock? Did any of those things come up? Well, in terms of evaluation of cloud services, yes, it did. In terms of corporate governance, yes, it did. Nothing came up on change. In terms of talent management, anything come up on that? Yes, it did. So it would have been really beneficial had you done the mock day mock. What about having done the revision mock? So I do this one about 4 weeks before the exam comes out. And in that mock, I did a question on strategic evaluation and culture. I did a question on risk management and project management. And I did a question on corporate governance. And I did a question on integrated reporting. So again, had we been through that mock, would any of that feedback I gave you to your answers that you wrote on the CBE platform have helped? Well, let's have a think. Did anything come up on evaluation? Yes, it did. And for some people, it also came up on culture. So double whammy there. Risk came up, project management didn't. Corporate governance came up and integrated reporting came up. So again, please do a mock. If I was then to take it to the mock I do maybe 6 weeks out, at the end of when people have kind of acquired the knowledge, I did a question on evaluation, I did a question on risk assessment and risk response, and I did a question in quite a niche area of performance management. Would that have helped you? Well, I think we know something came up on strategic evaluation, so that was useful. There was a twist on a risk question about assessment and response, and there was also a question for many on performance excellence. So please do a mock. Please do a mock. So having just reviewed the mocks, let me now have a look at the detail of the questions that came up. So in terms of feedback I've received over the last 24 hours on what people got, a lot of people, not everyone, got a question on evaluation of a data breach. And I think the lesson we can learn from this question is the importance of really digesting and understanding the pre-seen material, because it did talk about security issues, risks of data breaches, and I also encourage you to look at some ACCA articles on that. And had you done that, I think this question would have been fine. There was also a question on a benefit of a diverse board. Well, this was a question that came in the September 2023 exam, and we reviewed this in quite a bit of detail. If you've got a good knowledge of corporate governance, again, this question should not have been a problem for you. For many, the second question was on talent management, and for many, it was on the benefits and drawbacks of talent management to NC Tech. Yeah. We did this question in our final mock day, exactly the same as what are the benefits and drawbacks of talent management. So had you done the final mock day, you're not going to get better preparation than that. There was also questions on stakeholder analysis and how stakeholders can influence strategy at NC Tech. And then there was a question on integrated reporting and the benefits to NC Tech. So in terms of the lessons from these questions, I would say, if you just regurgitated what you knew about stakeholder analysis, say the mapping matrix, and you did power and interest and said these are key players, That wasn't the question. The question was saying, how do stakeholders influence strategy? And you could bring in your knowledge of the mapping matrix and talk about how evaluation of stakeholder power and interest would obviously give you a guide to who the most important ones were and who were the most influential and who you didn't have to take too much notice of. But if you just regurgitated the theory, you wouldn't have got any marks. So the lesson, use theory as a catalyst to influence your answer. The final question was on integrated reporting, and it was how it benefits NC Tech. So again, we've digested, we've understood, we've got perspective from the pre-scene of who NC Tech are, and then we link that to integrated reporting. Again, if you just regurgitated the 6 capitals, that's not what the examining team would want. They would want the application of the knowledge which you could have gained from the 6 capitals to NC Tech. So the exam is not just 3 questions. There are multiple variants given in the SBL exam. I received feedback over a 24-hour period from people all over the world, and other questions that people were asked were as follows. There was a question on discussing the cultural aspects limiting the growth of the company. So cultural web would have been great as a catalyst for your answer, but if you just regurgitated cultural web, wouldn't really have worked. But again, knowledge to apply in the context. It was then asking about risk protection measures and analyse and recommend how they could be improved. So again, we would have been highlighted to this area by the articles I asked you to read, by the pre-scene material that we really went through in quite a lot of depth. Talent management, not just benefits and drawbacks, but some people got a question on talent management which was linked to how it could improve performance. Yeah. So again, SBL is an applied exam. It's not asking you to regurgitate theory. It's asking you to understand the basics of these theory, but then how would that knowledge of, say, or use of talent management help improve performance? So again, careful reading of the question. We were then asked to analyse a strategic position, but we were asked to be sceptical in our analysis, which means we didn't just take things at face value, and we did question some of the information given in the exhibits. We were then asked to evaluate an extension into software as a service. Again, we did this exact question on the final mock. Yeah, so that should have been fine. But I also asked you to consider and understand what AI means and what it can do, and what machine learning means and what it can do, because it was mentioned again in the pre-scene material. So here, that knowledge connected to the question we did should have served you well. Performance excellence is quite a niche area of the syllabus, and some people might have learnt the Baldrige model, but if you just regurgitated the model, you wouldn't have got many marks, because the question didn't ask that. The question asked you how adoption can help with performance improvement. So know the model, but know how aspects of the model would help improve things, not regurgitate the model. But again, we did that in our tuition mock, so you should have been fine. This one, the benefits and drawbacks of internal audit. So this could be knowledge drawn from other subjects. It was also saying, well, it was one of those things, what do you think? What do you know? Obviously, there were aspects of NC Tech which would also benefit from internal audit, which you should have brought through into your answer. And then a minority of people got given a pestel in an exhibit, and they were asked to analyse and explain the strategic position using the PEST. So again, it was, you tend not to always have to do a PEST, and you tend not to have to work out numbers. They give it to you, and you're asked to evaluate in the context. So what do I learn from that? Well, what I learned from it, if you go back over how I've looked at each of these questions, they have not been questions asking you to regurgitate theory. They've been asking you to talk about how, culture in the context, stakeholder mapping in the context, and analysis of strategic position in the context of the company. And if you haven't done SBL before and you're preparing for it, learn from this. Please do not just learn theory. It is not going to help you. Okay, so there's another exam done. If you are preparing for SBL maybe in March, how should you approach things? Well, if you have just done an exam, my advice would be take a chill pill. Relax for a few days. You've definitely earned it. But I'm not sure I would take a chill pill until results day. Results are 6+ weeks away. Yeah, that's quite a long time not to do any study. And I think you have put yourself into the study mode. You have developed a study habit. And I would keep in that mode. If you're a little worried you might not have passed your previous exam, SBR or AAA, well, that's fine. If you haven't passed it and you sign up for a course with me, I will let you transfer to the next exam, be it June or be it September, absolutely for free, so that you can retake the exam you didn't get last time. Thank you very much for sending me in all your comments and giving me all your feedback. And I'm pleased all the information I've given you on time management has really served you well. So yeah, enjoy yourself now. Have a great Christmas. And if that is your last exam, enjoy the rest of your life exam free. Onwards and upwards. Thanks for listening again.